Cancel. Hang on, guys. I'm just getting this going. Boop, boop, ba-doo. Just setting up the camera, you guys. Hang tight. Yes, I got red rock crab. It's pretty tasty. I've already had some. Let me just pull up my chat so I can see all your comments. Well, you know what? I should flip this camera around. Hang on. This is where I'm at. Oceanside, you guys. Whew. Not a bad little spot. So yeah, there we go. That's better. Now I can see myself. Whoop, whoop. Don't mess up the camera. All right, there we go. That's pretty good. There we go. I'm just pulling up the comments so that I can see everything that you guys are writing back to me on my laptop. That way I get a little bit bigger of a feed and it's not so tiny to see. But I'll bring you a little bit closer. Yeah. I have this couple pull up beside me here. They're just leaving now, but they were asking me if I was doing YouTube and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing a live. So they were curious, and they've been following a bunch of van life channels and stuff like that. Had a pretty good conversation with them. But you guys, so I was out fishing this morning, and not too far away, and I caught a crab this morning, and that's it. So I figured some of you guys are probably having lunch, maybe some of you aren't, but I'm gonna have this lunch, and I've already had some of it. It's really good. So you might hear a little crunch crunch as I break up the shell and eat some of it. So basically, what I did is I cleaned it, and then I separated it into two halves, and I boiled it in water for 10 minutes, and it's then rinsed it off with some cool water, and then I made up a little garlic, salt, butter bath for the meat. So that's it. And this is probably got to be the coolest lunch I've had in a long time, actually. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm happy to be here. It's pretty cool. I hope everybody's doing pretty good out there. Let's see who's in here. Anybody want to ask me questions? Shoot me questions. I just want to hang out, share this. It's been a while. Last time you probably saw me, I was trying to catch some crabs out in Port Renfrew, and I was catching some that, you know, they weren't that healthy. But so all I'm going to just do is I'm going to break the meat off, and I'm going to put it into this little butter bath so it's easier to eat. So far, I've discovered that I like kind of going through the shells first, and then kind of piling up all the meat aside, and then I'll just have that. But yeah, that's it. So Cindy Gray, you're waiting on snow here from backwoods to Maine. Yeah, you guys have gotten a lot of snow back east. I was chatting with my mom, and she's been really snowed in, and I've been watching you know, different videos and stuff online. There's been some cool stuff going on in Canada with this Freedom Convoy 2022, and those guys been driving through some pretty cold, wintry stuff, and there's a lot of people out there that are on the sides of the roads, kind of, you know, showing their support and stuff like that. It's pretty neat, kind of a nice peaceful protest. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's a pretty good deal. Should definitely work on getting some of our freedoms back, you know, but all being safe at the same time too. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to get into that too much, but I just think Canadians are a lot smarter than probably the government maybe thinks that we are, and I think we can take some of these responsibilities back in our own hands. That's it. it's my speech on that, guys. I'm gonna enjoy this crab. Yeah. Chad, it's good to see you in here, man. I'm glad you made it. Chad was Chad, someone that's I've chatted to a few times, and he's out on the island. I'll probably end up having coffee with him at some point. He's going to be going to J5 Custom Vans to get some work done on his own van. And I'm not sure what he's doing exactly. Maybe he's putting in a heater or something, but anyway, van work. And speaking of van work, guys, I've got a couple different projects coming up that are going to be related to my van, and I'm also going to be diving back into Nick's van as well. So I'm going to be more than likely sharing some van building and construction kind of footage in the near future. That being said, I've been kind of jumping around the island a little bit right now, and I've got some other content coming out. Yeah, yeah, Mike, yeah. Yeah, so this morning's crabbing, you guys, so I filmed it, and it was pretty interesting. There was this older gentleman that came out, and he came out after me, and he went way out onto the end of the pier, and he started catching crabs right away. And so I thought, oh man, you know, like, I should probably go where he's going, and maybe I'll get lucky, because I'd already been there for about an hour, and I wasn't getting anything. So I went out there, and I was pulling my traps, and setting my traps, and pulling my traps, and nothing was happening. And every time that guy pulled up his trap, he had crabs in his trap. And I was trying to ask him, you know, what he was using for bait or something like that, and he just kind of, I don't know what nationality it was, but he just kind of looked at me, and he was just kind of like shaking his head and just sort of blank staring at me, like, and I suspected he didn't speak any English. So I don't know what he was using, guys, but he was catching a lot. And it was pretty fun. So yeah, so far the crabbing's good. This is the second one I've had, so it's not the first one I've had. This is the second rock crab that I've eaten. A little bit of a spoiler, and they're delicious. They're really good. And I also had some Dungeness a while ago. Nick went out, it was I think this was several weeks back, so it was a while back. Nick went out and bought several Dungeness crab from a local fish market, and we had a few of them at his place. And they were also very good. And so far, between the two of them, I like the red rock crab more, especially this one that I got right now. It's super yummy. Yeah. 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 Anyway, crab fishing, guys, has been a lot of fun. It's probably going to be one of these things that I do casually, for kind of the funness about it. It's exciting, and it tastes good, and it sort of switches things up a little bit for me. I don't know if I'll be doing it on a regular, but it's pretty good to do right now. Carport Unlimited, you are saying you've been watching my videos, and you're saying that my skills have picked up incredibly well, or something like that. So I think part of that's because I've invested a little bit of side cash into a course. So I've been taking a film class right now, you guys, and I'm learning some stuff about filming and making videos that I had no idea even existed, and it's really helping me out quite a bit. At the same time, though, it's shaking me up a little bit, because I've got a style that I approach filming with, and it's something that I've been doing now for a while, and it kind of works, but in the edits of the videos, it takes forever to put together a video for you guys. And that's what I'm trying to speed up, because I'll go out and film a video, and then I'll get around to editing it, and then I'll spend 2 days making a 15-minute video or something. and I'm thinking to myself, I gotta speed this up. I gotta do this better than I'm doing it. Anyway, so far the course is really cool, and I've learned a lot of tricks that I didn't know about before. But anyway, that's hang on, guys. I'm just gonna pull through here. I think I saw a couple super chats come in, and I just want to. Mark, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for the super chat, man. I'm gonna put that towards my coffee and all that sort of stuff too. And KJ4MZ, I think it's Mike. Is it Michael? I'm trying to remember your real name. But thank you for the super chat, buddy. Howdy back to you. Carrie, you're asking, are you sure the crab is safe to eat? I saw the crabs you were catching that were so sickly and missing limbs. Be careful. So, I don't know, like, basically, you know, there's a couple people in the comments that said stuff about, like, oh, you should be careful about Fukushima and the radiation from that, and dock waste and all that kind of stuff. And all those things are considerations. So when I was fishing out in Port Renfrew and I had a chat with the DFO, so that was the fishing guys that came by. They were there to check my license and all that kind of thing. And in any case, we had a good conversation about Fukushima radiation and other wastes in the waters and the safety of eating crabs and red tide disease and all that sort of stuff. And the consensus was that crabs are fairly safe to eat in terms of red tide and paralytic shellfish poisoning, so you don't have to worry about that so much. But they can be, you'd want to limit your quantity in particular areas where there's wastewater going out into the particular body of water that you might be fishing in. And in the case of Port Renfrew, that whole town, there's a bunch of wastewater from that whole town that goes out into the ocean there. So that whole area is closed for shell fishing, but people do crab fishing there from time to time. That kind of put me off of the place a little bit, to be honest. But I still, at the same time, I didn't really catch any legal crabs while I was there that were in decent enough shape to eat. And I probably won't go back there and put an effort into trying to catch and eat a crab in that particular area, knowing that there's wastewater in that body of water in that area. With regards to like the Fukushima stuff, we had a chat about that. They were saying there's a bunch of scientists that are like monitoring that sort of stuff, and they just go by the information that those scientists give back to them, which basically says like everything's safe, you don't need to worry about it. If anything does alarming comes up, we'll have to let the public know and all that kind of thing. So I don't know, there might be trace levels of that sort of stuff in here. I suspect there would be. I'm pretty sure things like the radiation from all these different accidents that have happened in the planet over the years and is all drifting about, and we all have some of that radiation in us anyway, and just about everything on the planet does. But anyway, the idea is I'll just kind of be moderate about my consumption of this kind of thing. So that's it. I won't be making it like an everyday meal, you know. If I'm in a situation where maybe I need to rely on it for a food source, then I might eat it a bit more regularly and stuff like that. But we're talking about a really extreme situation if that comes up. So, and I don't think that's ever going to be a scenario in my lifetime. That brings up another thought, but I'm just gonna check in here. You guys sent me a couple other. Who we got? Kim, thank you, Kim. Appreciate that super chat. Kim, by the way, thank you for the Tim Hortons. I got this one from you. Kim sent me a Tim Hortons card a while back, and every now and then I'll go to Tim Hortons and get a coffee. Yeah, Mike, you're asking if I don't know why the crabs were missing claws or what the hole was about. There was a couple people that mentioned it might be a bacteria or something like that. I have no idea. The guys, the DFO guys, they didn't really have an answer for me either, so just left it at that. Well, thanks, Alberta Schoolie Adventures. Add this to your gas fund or buy a coffee. Thanks so much for your content. Editing does take a while. I love making videos as well. Right on. Yeah, I totally appreciate that. Thank you, Alberta Schoolie Adventure. Yeah, the whole editing process is quite something. It was really, in this course, it was really cool. So the course I'm taking is with Casey Neistat, and he started, I don't know, it's just like a film class, you guys. And Casey Neistat is a pretty successful YouTuber. He's got his own style, and I've learned that through the course that I'm taking because he's the main teacher on it. But it's pretty interesting to see how that man thinks and what's going on in his brain as he's going around with his camera, and also how he approached his edit. There was this one video where he's just talking about his editing, and I was just like, oh my god, this is beautiful. It was beautiful because he was talking about the artistry of it and how the video really comes out in the edit, and it's so true. It's like, I'll go and film all this stuff, and sometimes I don't feel particularly good about the footage I shot that day, and then when I get it into the editor and I put it together, it's like, oh wow, this actually looks really good. So it's pretty cool to be taking that course, and I'm sure you know that too, Alberta School of Adventures, with editing videos. It's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. Thank you, Van Life with Gina. Fist bump right back at you. And Steph Code, thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Steph's just saying very inspirational videos. Thanks and love from Montreal. Love right back at you. I know you're going through quite a ordeal in Quebec right now, and that's just, everything affects everybody. So anyway, lots of love to you and all your family and friends and stuff, and everybody back that way. My brother's in Quebec, by the way, so I chat with him from time to time, and I haven't talked to him in a little while, but yeah. But he's doing okay, you know. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get into the whole, you know, stuff. What am I trying to say? I don't want to get into the whole COVID thing. Okay. Yeah. Joseph, thanks, buddy. Thanks for that super sticker, buddy. Appreciate it. Nice to have you in here. Thanks so much, buddy. Let's see. Someone's asking if Jeffy Bear got his heater fixed. Apparently he did. I don't know exactly. I just need to change my seating position. Getting pins and needles, you guys. I can only kneel in my van for maybe 15 minutes until I have to shift it up. So anyway, we'll try this. But yeah, Jeff is, I'm not sure where he's at with his videos. I did drive up island with all my tools, and I was thinking that I was going to be doing the electrical repairs and the heater installation on his van. But he had other plans. He made some arrangements with another friend of his, and that was it. So I just kind of stepped out of that, and then I went and did my own thing for a couple days, and most of that was just sitting around editing, and I think I shot a couple videos too. But anyway, that'll come out. But yeah, I think Jeff's all sorted out, you guys. I'm really glad that friend of his stepped up too, because he's apparently looking, I think Jeff was explaining that he might be looking to drum up a little bit of business with electrical work and that kind of thing. So by him getting that work on Jeff's van, it might give him a little bit of exposure on YouTube, which might line him up some other work. So I think that's really, you know, it's wonderful. Lunaventure, did you do the van build on your van? Yes, I did. It's all in my channel, Lunaventure. So I've got a whole build series playlist, and the whole thing's on there. There's still some build videos to come out. which I'm pretty relaxed about putting those out there at this point, but eventually I'll share those, kind of bring everyone up to speed on that. I just want to wrap up that whole playlist so it's this nice, beautiful, like start to finish, the whole van is there. Rob Trick, you're wondering what my fuel economy is like. It's not great. I think I get about 18 liters per 100 kilometers, and it's a minivan, and this bugs me so much because I've got people that say, oh, it's going to be cheap to operate the minivan, and it should be cheap to repair it, and the maintenance and the oil changes and all that stuff. And my buddy Nick has got a 2017 Sprinter van or something, and he gets something like 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers. So he's doing way better than I am, and he's driving a way bigger van that's heavier. Mind you, it is diesel, and it's got, you know, pretty elaborate transmission to help with that gas mileage. It's a much more modern vehicle. But even the maintenance and the oil changes and all that stuff is cheaper on his van than it is on my van, which is kind of frustrating for me. But yeah, my fuel economy is not super wonderful, but it is what it is. Yeah. So Cora, thank you for the super chat. Love your videos. Found you through Chrome. Moved away from the West Coast, from Oregon. I'm trying to read it. It keeps scrolling as I'm reading it. I miss it badly, and all of your videos with you, Jeffy, Cat Lady Chrome, remind me of my home. So thank you. You're welcome, Cora. Thank you so much for that super chat, and I'm really glad that the videos and the other guys are kind of stirring up some really good memories and stuff like that for you. That feels good to know that. Huh. Yeah. Jim Brown, rise up Canada, keep on trucking, boys. You betcha. Hey, so I bought a hat the other day. It was yesterday, actually. I was wearing it this morning. What do you guys think? I'm not sure if that's flipped, if it's reading it backwards on the camera, or if it's the right way around. No, it's the right way around. I feel proud to be Canadian again today. Ivan, thanks for the super chat. Do you rent out your services to do electrical job on a van, and how much do you charge? Ivan, I kind of do and I kind of don't. I'm going to be diving back into a job that I started and I'm going to finish, and that's with Nick's job. It's a pre-arrangement, but if I were to start a job for somebody else, I would probably bill out at about $100 an hour to do the electrical work. And it would be, I don't know, I think that's about on par with a lot of other electricians and stuff. And the reason I had charged that rate is because, number one, I don't really want to get bogged down with too much of that sort of stuff. There's a part of me that really wants to go out and share a little bit more than just doing van work, stuff like that. I want to reach a little bit further than one person. What I'd rather do is talk about it, teach elements of it, and help you guys out in a different way. When you do it yourself, here's the thing, is when I came to do my electrical, you guys, I could have hired somebody. I didn't know the first thing about electrical for a van. I'd never done anything like that. I kind of tapped into a wiring harness on a scooter, and I sort of modified that a long time ago, but this was different. Doing the electrical work in my van was completely new. What I chose to do was just research the crap out of it. I wanted to know how it works and what to build and how it all fits together. And the reason I chose to go that way is because if anything ever happens to it, I'm more self-reliant to have an understanding of how that system operates, to be able to do a roadside repair, troubleshoot an issue, any of those sorts of things. It makes me more intimate with the van. And so, seeing how it's, you know, a different lifestyle, you're living in this self-contained unit, the more you know about it and understand about it, the more powerful your situation is going to be. And to me, that just made a whole lot of sense. And I had to spend some money on some tools and stuff. So I kind of reasoned the expenses a little bit in this way. So if I hired somebody to do it, I'd be paying them about $100 an hour or so. I did hire somebody, by the way, but I'll get into that in a second. They didn't do any work. It was more of a consult. So if I hired somebody, I'd pay them maybe $100 an hour, let's say, or maybe more, likely more than that. And they would come in with their tools, they would build it out, I would pay them a bill, maybe it'd be like $4,000 or $3,000, and that would be that, and then everything would work. Now, if I didn't have the time to get into it myself, then that option would make sense. Like if I was really busy working a profession somewhere else and I didn't have the time to build it out myself, that's what I mean. But I figured, okay, well, it's going to cost me about $3,000 or so to get somebody else to do it. How much are the tools? And like, so I bought that hydraulic crimper that I have. I think that was about $250, $300. It's a bit pricey, but I figured, okay, well, that's cheaper than paying somebody else to do this work for me anyway. And then I've got this tool, I can maybe help out a few other people in the process. So that'll basically extend the life of that tool to benefit other people. And I'm cool to lend that thing out if you want to borrow it, or anybody does. And so I bought a couple other tools, and that got things going. And now I know exactly what's going on in my van. Now, the investment of time, I probably put in about 100 hours of research into learning about everything. So if you've got the time and the will and you want to do it, it's really powerful to know how to do all that stuff and to have that intimacy with your van build. Anyway, that's it. I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, it's a pretty cool process to do your electrical, and you can hire somebody, and if you know, understand you might be in a situation where you maybe can't move your fingers as much, or you don't have the dexterity or the skills. You can come up with a lot of reasons, but if you can't move your fingers and you know, put something together, then I understand it. But if you can, and it's just a matter of getting through that part of yourself in order to understand something, I say go for it. Learn how to do it. You'll be much stronger individual afterwards by taking that lesson on and doing that. Anyway, well, let's see what else is in here. Ivan, if you're serious about it, by the way, just send me an email. My email is info@sharingthewild.ca. It's in every one of my videos, so you should be able to hit me up that way. Let's see. California Love, you're asking me if I have a P.O. box where subscribers can mail to. I do have one. What you could do is you could send me an email, and we'll talk about it over there. I don't want to share my mailing address publicly at this point. I don't want to. If you know my friend Chrome, he's shared his publicly several times, and we've had conversations about it, and there's pros and cons to it. So he's received a lot of beautiful gifts and a lot of love in the mail, but he's also gotten some pretty weird stuff, and I don't want the weirdness, so that's why I'm choosing not to share it. But yeah, if you genuinely want to help out, you can send me an email and we can talk about it there. Fromple Feet, haven't heard the news. Are the truckers on strike? What is going on? Just do a search on the Freedom Convoy 2022 for Canada, and you'll find everything you need to look. But maybe don't look at the mainstream media, because I think they're kind of showing a different story. It's, yeah, but it's a pretty beautiful thing what's going on. Canada's been under a lot of stress, and the whole world's been under a lot of stress, and there's some genuinely real concerns about all that. My thinking behind this whole thing is I just want to see a lot more transparency and a lot more love. And there's been almost zero transparency and zero love. It's been this narrative of fear and subjecting people to mandates and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, we are better than that. Like, we can educate each other by being transparent about this information and share our heads and figure out how to move through this whole thing that we're in, as opposed to just, I know the way, do as I say kind of thing. So I'm pretty proud about what's going on at the moment in order to shake that up a bit, because I think I want to see more transparency in the way the government leads the country, and I want to see more love and compassion as well. And I want to see more of that in the media also. So anyway, Freedom Convoy 2022. There might be people on that convoy that are going about it for different reasons and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, happy to be wearing this hat again. I've never actually worn a hat like this, except for maybe when I was a kid. Anyway, ADV, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Keep doing what you're doing. Cheers, Joseph. All the best. Thanks, man. Or woman. I'm not sure. ADV. Appreciate it, though. I really do. Thanks for the love. Van Life Vibes. You're asking, how is the crab? This is the best rock crab that I've had. It's kind of cold right now. I should have just kind of scarfed it down right away. But I thought it would be fun to share it with you guys. And I caught it right here. Like, I caught it right out there, you guys. It was actually up that way. Nice treat. That's all it is. It's a nice treat. The Van Life Juniors. How's the rim paint holding up? So what he's asking about is my rims. They got a paint job on them. In the fall, I drove my van out to Calgary to go see Mark, the paint guy. Thank you, Mark. You did a fantastic job on my van. Mark painted my rims, as well as he fixed up this botched job that I did up on the roof of my van. And my rims are doing super good. I haven't had a single chip. Everything's holding up really well. I can take it to the power wash. It's all good. So far, not an issue. I think a lot of that had to do with the prep and stuff like that. But yeah, they're doing really good. Yeah, Mindful Forest from van life to tent life. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Do you know if Squamish is a van friendly these days? I'm in northern BC and thinking of traveling south soon. Squamish has kind of got an interesting relationship with van life. So there's people that live there, and there's a district, and it's probably like, maybe, I don't know, it's probably split somewhere 50-50, where some people are like, they're okay with it, but other people are like, no, get them out, we don't want them. And it's a complicated thing. In Squamish, there's a lot of van life that goes there because of the climbing, and all the other outdoor sports that go on in that particular town and in the area around there. So it brings in, especially in the summer, there's a lot of people that come in from the US, and there's people that come in from all over Canada, and the town kind of gets, shall we say, a little bit busy, and there's a lot of van lifers that end up crowding into areas where they shouldn't be, and some of them don't respect the areas, and so they'll do things like, use a public bathroom in, a public area to wash their dishes or to spread out. They'll spill out into a parking lot. They'll poop in the woods. They'll leave trash behind. So Squamish has seen a lot of that, and that's why they've kind of had to lock down on it. I think they could go about it differently. I think there's a better way to deal with that sort of thing, but in any case, you could go there and your safe bet is going to be to sleep in the Walmart parking lot. As far as I know, that's still a thing. You could still do that. And at least that's where I stay when I go there. So I don't know if that helps you out, but there's that. And Vancouver isn't too far away. There's North Vancouver, there's Vancouver. It's pretty easy to do van life down there as well. Go check out Spanish Banks. It's a really beautiful place to hang out for a day or two. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I got for you. Oh, wait. Van Life Jr., you're not Bruce, are you? From Calgary? I'm not sure. Someone just said, Van Life Jr.'s howdy, how's the heater working out for you all? So I don't know. If you're Bruce, chime up about that. Let's see. A couple of you still talking about the Freedom Convoy. California life. You're asking me if maybe you're giving me a tip. You're saying I should invite the cat lady van out for a nice meal on the beach for Valentine's Day. Cat lady is a dear friend of mine. I love her a lot. She's a wonderful person, and I'm sure a lot of you love her too. I don't know if we would do a romantic thing, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm not in a place in my own heart to even consider anything like that with anybody at this point. It's just, that's what it is. And I love our friendship a lot, and I don't want to change that up by getting romantic and stuff like that, because that takes things to a completely different territory. And yeah, I know for me, I'm not ready for that kind of thing in my life. Let's see. Yeah, Sammy, I finally caught a crab. It is a delicious crab. So far, my favorite way to have these kind of things are, I like to take the meat and I had it in an omelet the other day, and that was amazing. It was really, really good. And so I'll definitely be doing that again. Maybe with the rest of this crab. Maybe I should save it. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It's already kind of cooled off. I'm going to save the rest of this. So I got about a claw meat left and a little bit of body meat left. I'll save that for an omelet. Woo! Meanwhile, I'm going to get back to my coffee. Let's see. Someone in here asked me how my daughter's doing. My daughter, so I just wanted to get back to that comment. I saw it a while ago. She's doing really good. We had a little video call last night. Her and her mom called me at 3:15 in the morning. And she called several times, so it broke through the silence on my phone, because normally I put my phone on silent at night. Anyway, she had an accident. She was in the house, and I guess she was playing too close to a big mirror on the wall, and somehow it pulled away and the mirror fell on her. She didn't get cut or anything like that. It was one of these things where she got lucky, and she was, unscathed. It just kind of bruised her a little bit on her back. And so they called, and she was sharing her story. She was like, "Mom ran so fast." She was like, "PJ Masks." And she's like, "I love PJ Masks." And PJ Masks is a little kids cartoon, you guys. So if you have kids, you probably know what that is. But it was pretty precious. We hung out for a while. And we're going to hang out again this afternoon when they wake up. They're in a different time zone. But yeah, my girl's doing pretty good. She's really enjoying her time with her mom. Her mom is showing her a lot of really cool things over in Indonesia, and you know, they're having some fun. And she's riding elephants. She's swimming a lot, and we chat a lot on the phone. Like, we do video calls every day, just about. So my daughter's doing pretty good, and I can't wait to see her in, you know, again. That'll come in the right time. In the meantime, we're doing video calls and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I got a couple friends now that I've made that are in Indonesia. I've been chatting with them. It's pretty interesting. So they've got this whole thing over there that if you travel there, even though you're free of COVID and you're all vaccinated and all that stuff, they still require you to quarantine for 14 days. And it's crazy. But anyway, that's it. We're not going there any further. That's all I'm going to say. My daughter is doing pretty good. I love her so much. Yeah. How's the volume on this, you guys? I know there's a lot of traffic in the background. I can hear that. I'm not sure how my voice is coming through. I believe it's coming through pretty good because we've been talking now for a while now. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. T-Bone, why would Joseph complicate his life with a girlfriend? It kind of comes down to that. It's like, I'm at a place right now in my life where things are, I mean, things feel very complicated for me. And I don't know, like, you know, it's not like I've gone through a human lifetime before, so I can't really reflect on what that experience would be like. But in this lifetime, I'm questioning, like, you know, is this just a part of life? Did things eventually get more and more complicated the older you get? The other thing I see is what's going on is just there's a lot more of us that have come into this world over the last, like, you know, 50, 100 years or so. And so there's this entropy that's going on as well. And so that there's also that where things become more and more complicated and chaotic and that sort of stuff. And you can still function in it, but it just gets busy. Anyway, I don't mind some of the complicated and busy sort of chaotic stuff. Like, I find that can be a really good stress at times, but there's times where I really appreciate just sitting at a calm lake, looking out, you know, hanging out with a fishing rod, or just breathing the air and appreciating the natural calm beauty of things. And I find, I mean, that's kind of why I draw, like, I'm drawn so much to nature, is it's really, there's this voice, this like spiritual presence almost, like, in nature, and it's around us everywhere really, but when I'm in a more natural setting, I can hear the wind and I can hear the trees. I can, like, it's almost like I can hear that feedback from nature, and there's no human intervention going on, and that's incredible. That's super beautiful. And some of you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But yeah, when you can get out into the woods and you can just breathe that in and feel that, it's pretty powerful energy. I mean, I think I showed that in that seafoam video a little bit. That wasn't too long ago. That was pretty cool. Yeah, Mike, thanks, man. You've been enjoying all the pics on the Patreon page. They're awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been trying to bump up my activity on Patreon so that you guys get more regular updates and stuff. There's some days where I just go, man, there's just nothing happening today. It's just a work day. I'm just going to sit in my van and work on a video all day, and I don't film. But I'm going to try to keep that going anyway, so you guys at least understand more of the reality of, you know, the day-to-day stuff. And for those of you that are not on Patreon, if you want to have a little bit more of like a up-to-date insight as to what I'm doing, you can head on over there. There's a bit of a community going on, and I put out regular updates where I am. And my videos right now are about 10, like I'm about 5 videos ahead at this point in time. And it kind of ebbs and flows. Sometimes I catch up to the present moment, and sometimes I stay back a little ways. And if you guys are watching some other channels where there's some collaborative videos, I'm sure you kind of put that together at this point. But yeah, come on over to Patreon. It's a lot of fun. And it really helps me out and helps me continue to do this too, because you're supporting me financially. It's $5 a month. I'm going to change that so there's an annual fee, so you can sign up for that too. But for me to continue to share videos and go out and do this sort of stuff, I still got to put, you know, food in my belly, gas in the tank, do the maintenance, and live life. And so all those little bits really do help me be able to do that. And right now, I'm not quite independent in that way yet. And I got to take on a little bit of side work at this point, which takes away from me being able to share as much as I want to. So there is that. Isabel Pierce, thanks for the super sticker. Appreciate that, Isabel. #1 fan. Whew. Yeah. Oh, let's catch up here. I think I'm behind here a little bit. Isabel, thank you. Bill Dan Levitz, what time did I land the crab? It was probably at about 11 a.m. when I caught the crab. There was a guy out there that was catching crabs all morning. And so I don't know if it was a time of day thing or anything. The tide was high, and then the tide was starting to go out as I was fishing. And so I caught the crab. Wasn't in slack tide. The tide was actually like, it was going. BK, hi Joseph. Do you like the hybrid Toyota Sienna for van life conversion? I do. I think like I do like the Toyota Sienna. It's a really it's a nicely made machine, and it's got some features in it that I really appreciate over the Dodge Grand Caravan that I'm in. I really like this vehicle. I like this one mostly because of the stow and go seats that came in it, and I can have those seats in the floor, and I can flip them out and use, like I kept one of them, I can flip it out and bring a passenger in the van. With the Toyota, it was a little bit more complicated to be able to do that kind of thing. I don't know if they've changed that. The only thing I wish this van did is that these windows right here, I wish these actually rolled down. And I know in the newer Dodge Caravans that you can roll these windows down. But yeah, Toyota Sienna is a really nice van. There is a gentleman, I forget his name. Just look for different Toyota Sienna van builds out there. There's one where the guy's built his bed the same way as I did, and that's where I got my idea from. I'm sorry if I remember the name, I'll throw it down in the description later, and then you can check back, or I'll pin it at the top of the comments or something. Yeah. Ivan, thanks, buddy. Thanks, Joseph. The reason I asked is because I seen you work on Jeff's van and Emmy's van, and you do very clean, meticulous work. So I was addressing one of Ivan's questions earlier about electrical work and if I'm, you know, for hire and that kind of stuff. But I appreciate that, Ivan. So yeah, I've done a little work on their vans. It was just kind of circumstantial in a way. Like, I've known Jeff for a while, and so, you know, when I was, you know, he's a friend of mine, and so it was, I knew he wanted to get an electrical system built in his new van when he got it, and that's a blue one. Before that, he was in an RV, and that's when I knew him. And so he kind of had all that stuff in the RV. And when he moved into the van, he had to kind of build it all and put it all together. So I helped him out with the roof vent. and then did the electrical stuff and that kind of stuff, and then Emmy as well. So yeah, but yeah, if you want to teach yourself, I haven't had to do electrical. I don't know if it's within your ability, but it's real powerful stuff to be able to know how to do that stuff yourself. Whew. Kim Jones, you're asking me how's the quilt, the blanket from my mom. I just got to reposition you guys. This thing is awesome. I really love this quilt. It's like, I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. I love that my mom made it. Like, you know, and I appreciate all the elements to it because I know how to sew and I can understand what she put into it. And that video as well, where I shared her making the quilt, was pretty touching. And we chatted about it afterwards. She was, I was like, you know, asking her how much money and the materials and stuff like that goes into it. Not that it's a topic of something that we needed to sort out or anything like that. But she's like, to make a quilt like this, it's about $500 in just the materials and that big machine that she was using at the very end, where she was doing all that cool like overlay stitching. She has to rent that machine, so there's a rental fee for that, and so on and so forth. But it's about a $500 sort of like investment to be able to make one. But I do love the quilt. It's really great. Super happy to get one. She made one for my little girl when she was born too, and that was another really beautiful quilt as well. So yeah, super nice. It keeps me warm at night, you guys. It's nice to have that extra layer. It's not like a sleeping bag either. Like, it's just, it works out really well. So I'm very happy for the quilt. Opal's dad 1523, thanks buddy, thanks for the super sticker. I don't like saying super sticker, even though that's what it is on your end. So you can choose between sending me a super chat, which sounds pretty cool, or a super sticker. And a super sticker is like, it just sounds kind of weird, in my opinion. But it's cool because it's a little emoji that's animated and stuff like that. It's just simple. Maybe YouTube should change the name of that. I don't know what they'd call it though, but anyway. The super chat though is a way for you to, like, you can highlight your message and your question, and it's going to stand out a little bit better for me on my end. Anyway, Lucky Beth, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the great video content. Thank you, Lucky Beth. Appreciate it. Mark Fitz, George, you're asking if my airbag light is still on. It still is on. I was hoping that that would go away once I took out that passenger airbag, but I wasn't sure. I haven't found anything research-wise specifically that shows how to change that. I'm not sure either if, because that light is on, if it's kind of like, there's a control module, right? And so the control module is got some feedback in the system saying that, you know, something's wrong, so it's got the airbag light on. I don't know if that's disabling the rest of the airbag system. Some people say yes it does, and some people say no it doesn't. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm not too worried about it, but I do, you know, it'd be great to get it turned off. So in that respect, I've kept the airbag and I've kept some of the other parts, and I'm thinking that maybe I can deploy the airbag in a safe way and maybe plug it back in, and maybe the system will correct itself and that light will go off. I don't know, but yeah, that light is still on. So anyway, we lagging, you guys? How we doing? I'm gonna check another speed test here, see how we're doing. Uh-oh, something's going on. No? Okay, there it is. Let me know, you guys. I think there was a little stall there in the feed. Yeah. I wish that airbag light would be gone. Like, but I was kind of hopefully working at it in that way. I was kind of like, I hope this takes care of it. But that, you know, I've learned that, that doesn't always work out. Yeah, you gotta do, I don't know, you gotta do your research and follow through and all that sort of stuff. And there's not a lot of people that are messing around with airbags. So it's not like I could go and just YouTube find that stuff. Yeah. Greg Kellaway, thanks for the super chat. Hey Joseph, in the future, if you buy another van, what kind of van would it be and why? So, I don't actually fully know the answer to that question, Greg. Emotionally, I'm coming from a place where I would like to go out and buy a Sprinter van, Mercedes Sprinter. Is that the right choice, and is that the van that I would buy? I mean, the choice, whether or not it's right, it's an individual choice. So for some people, they would be like, no, that's no good for me. And for other people, they'd be, I agree with you. I get that one. So choices are individual. And we're all going to have different opinions about why one van and not another van. I like the Mercedes van because I've crawled around and I've looked at it really carefully in the showrooms. Like, I've gotten right underneath and I've looked at the engineering and all that stuff, and I just appreciated the way it was constructed more so than some of the other vans that I got under. Like, I got under the Dodge ProMaster and I had a good look around that van, and I've test driven all these ones back in 2019, I believe it was, and also the Ford Transit. And so these are all high top vans. I would want to get a high top van. I just want to be able to stand up. And I didn't like really like the Dodge because, like, I liked it because it was big inside. It would be a really easy, I think, an easier van build. It's wide. You could sleep lengthwise almost. It's a nice indoor space. It felt a bit tinny sounding when I was driving it. Like, it felt a little bit on the thin side with the material. And so I don't know, I don't know if that's going to be an issue down the road for those vans or what. And then the ground clearance on that van was really low, and it's a front wheel drive. So I just didn't really appeal to me for that particular reason. The Ford Transit, though, that one is something I'd consider, and so is the Sprinter van. The Sprinter vans, I like Mercedes. I like dealing with them. I had a smart car. I had two of them, in fact, and I liked dealing with those guys. They were honest. They were upfront about the costs and all that sort of stuff, and that's what I really appreciated so much about them. With my experience with the Dodge van that I'm in, it was really sleazy going into the dealerships and trying to go through that whole, process. It's not clear. There's additional costs. There's a lack of transparency. All those sorts of things. I can't stand that. I won't buy a vehicle if there's that involved into it. And I experienced that with my Jeep, and I was really reluctant to get this van because it was another Chrysler vehicle. But it just kind of worked out that way. So anyway, hope that answers your question. I'm going to do some more research on it. My decision and what I'm going to get at that point in time, we'll see. Maybe some other manufacturer is going to make some cool van and it's just going to blow everything else out of the water. Who knows? Isabel Pierce, thank you. Thanks for that. And hi, Isabel. Nice to see you in here. Oh, and Mom's in here too. Hi, Mom. Good to see you in here, Mom. Yeah. Yeah, you guys, I've mostly eaten my crab already. There's a little bit left. I'm gonna put the rest of this in an omelet because that's my favorite way to have this thing so far. But this crab is so good. He is a super tasty guy. Super tasty crab. DB, you're saying, hi Joseph, when I worked in the airline, was I an avionics tech or trim and finish? Just wondering. Let me just reposition. Yeah, I get a little pins and needles in my leg here. Oh, sitting on my floor. I could sit on my couch, guys, but I kind of have to prop the camera, and maybe I'll shift in a bit here. We'll see. I like this because we're getting some light, but I see now the sun's in a different place. So when I was working in aviation, I was like a adolescent almost. I was, I think I was like 18, 19, 20 in that area. So I only stayed in that industry for a couple of years. I didn't have a ticket or any of that sort of stuff, so they hired me on as a apprentice interior technician. So I worked on the inside part of the plane, so like the wall panels, the seats, you know, all that sort of stuff. And that's what I did. We'd get in a plane would come in, it would be a Dash 8 or it'd be an RJ, and we'd strip out all the inside. Me and two other guys. There was one of the other guys' his name was Carol, I forget his last name, and then my boss's name was Bill Finley. And we worked at Avmax in Calgary. And so we'd strip out all the inside, take it out, and then the avionics crew would go in and they would do their avionics updates to the airplane. Structures guys would do all the sheet metal work, and then the mechanics and stuff would work on the engines and the landing gear and the trim, all that sort of stuff. But I got exposed to the whole gambit of aviation maintenance, and learned a lot of skills back at that time. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. Oh, Mark the Paint Guy's in here. Hey buddy, good to see you, buddy. I'm glad you're in here. I was talking about you earlier, Mark. And buddy, man, when you come out here, we're gonna do some crab fishing, bro. Like, you're gonna love it. You're really gonna love it. All right, let's go. There we go. Sorry, I was just hiding somebody, you guys. Yeah. I was just got a little trash in the comments, that's all. Anyway, that does happen. It is YouTube. It's a whole wide world. Yeah. It's interesting, like sometimes in the comments, it's been pretty clean lately. But I've had to be pretty like on it to be able to go through the comments. But I do get some pretty bad comments, you guys. Every YouTuber would. And yeah, some of it's just, it's interesting. Like, some of it actually hurts, and some of it just kind of whatever. Some of it's just inappropriate. But anyway, I don't really want to talk about it too much. It's an interesting psychology that goes on, and it's trying to recognize when some of these guys are leaving these comments. It's just kind of like, okay, well, something triggered them, or something upset them, or they're feeling insecure about themselves or something like that, and so they're leaving some comment. And it's pretty easy to do that on YouTube, but a lot of these people I don't think would actually say those kinds of things to my face if they were talking with me in person. But anyway, the internet. Yeah. Glad. All right. Oh, someone crash organism. You're saying surely you could use the ODB port and turn it off, like my seatbelt does not beep when I drive with no seatbelt on. I'm not sure how to do that. I think so. Crash organism is talking about my ODB port, which is a little port down underneath the steering wheel. where you plug in usually an electronics computer to tell you what's going on with the van. If there's something operationally, like if light comes on, you plug one of these things in, it tells you what's going on. I don't know how to. If you know what you're talking about, buddy, send me an email, or maybe I'll look into it, but I don't know how I could plug something in and be able to reprogram that airbag module, but I guess there's a way. Lawn Bowers, thanks for the super chat, Lon. The dyslexic part of my brain almost said lawnmowers, but lawn bowers, and I don't know if maybe you got teased about that, and I don't mean to tease you, but I just about called you lawn mowers, which makes me think about the old movie called The Lawnmower Man, which was a pretty cool movie when I was younger. You guys ever see The Lawnmower Man? That was a pretty sweet movie. It was kind of like, I don't know, a little sci-fi-ish, but it was pretty neat. That was a long time ago. Palooza, thanks for the super chat. Yeah. I'm just laughing because I'm seeing a little bit of a conversation around Mark the paint guy and a few people that are appreciating his hard work and all that sort of stuff. Mark does an amazing job when it comes to... Mark's a great guy, you guys, and he does an amazing job at just about anything he does. He did all the cosmetic work on my van, and it is awesome. It looks really, really good, and Mark, all that stuff is holding up really well. I was just mentioning earlier on this live that the rim paint on my rims is still rock solid. It's gone under, pressure washes from the car washes multiple times. So far, the salt's not corroding it or anything like that, so we're in good shape. Thank you, buddy. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah. And by the way, if you come out to the coast, we'll go crab fishing. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So nature is calling. When am I touring the U.S.? I don't know. I don't know. Right now, I don't have any plans to do that right now. I'm actually going to be spending some more time here in Victoria. And I should probably talk about what really drives my decision-making process. So a lot of times, and I've been fighting with this a little bit lately, is there's times where I feel like I want to go out and share the wild and shoot some cool videos out in nature, and I did a few of those, a couple of those recently. And then there's other times where I kind of beat myself up sometimes when I'm out there doing that sort of stuff. There's just a narrative going on in my own brain, and I go, man, as much as I enjoy doing this kind of thing, I really need to be back somewhere else taking care of something else. And I can only spend so much time having a bit of fun before I go... I'm just changing positions, you guys. Before I feel like I need to take care of the responsibilities. And these days, and especially in, I'd say, a lot of my YouTube journey is with you guys, is I've been very responsibility oriented. And that's been really important, and it feels really good. Taking care of things that are, our responsibilities are often not very much fun. And they don't have this dopamine release, or, it's not like you get a dopamine high from doing that sort of stuff, but it moves me forward. And so these days, I'm more motivated to focus on responsibilities than I am on going and having fun. And I like to try to do a bit of a balance of both. But when I feel like when I work on something that I need to, and I focus on that, and I don't put it off, I'm helping myself heal, and I'm also helping everybody else around me in the community. So I'm making myself stronger, and I'm also making those people around me stronger as well. And in some ways, I'm probably sharing some inspiration as well for those people that are nearby, and they see that and they're like, you know what, I got some responsibilities of my own that I need to work on too. And just watching you do that with yourself is really making me feel better about going ahead and doing that stuff for myself as well, as opposed to procrastinating and doing, you know, other things. And yeah, these days that's been a big motivation, part of my decisions. And that's just my phone, you guys. It's just some messages on Patreon. Anyway, yeah, responsibilities. It's so important. It's like, if I don't take care of the stuff that I need to, eventually I become more of a burden on society. I become more dependent on other people. And there's a time and place for that sort of thing. So don't get me wrong. Like, if you're in a position where you're depending on other people for things, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's really nice to be on the other side of that, where you're helping somebody else through something. But being responsible and facing the work that you need to do is really important. So if we all do that, I think it makes the whole community a lot more fun. But so does going out and having some fun times and goofing off and farting around. That's also really important as well. Anyway, that's these days, that's what it is. And right now my responsibility is getting back to me touring around US and venturing out further and stuff like that. My responsibilities are kind of right here right now. And so I'm going to be in Victoria for a little while in the next little bit. I feel also a pull to spend some time in Vancouver again. Even though I'm not doing much more hands-on work for the yoga studios, I still very much hold those guys in my heart, and they're I kind of want to go back and help a little bit, because they're behind on a couple things, and I want to catch them up and get them into a better position, so to speak. But on the other hand, like, I need to move on as well, and I don't know, there's so many different things that I could do and that sort of stuff. But yeah, right now it's about sorting out my life, and it's helping a few friends also work on their own stuff. And man, if we all do that, man, this place would be really fun, like a lot more fun. Yeah, responsibilities. Yeah, good. Donna, thanks, man. Donna's telling me, get that crab in the fridge. I'm gonna do that right now. Hang on, let me put that guy in the fridge. I just kind of put it in there like that, and I'll put the garlic butter in there too. Totally saving me from spoiling that. I think it would be fine. I just it's gonna get cooked up again in eggs and stuff, but thank you, Donna. There we go. Man, what a nice, this is such a nice surprise, man. I was feeling kind of crummy the last couple days. I was visiting a place that I hadn't been to in a long time, and I just emotionally felt pretty stuck over there. And today feels a lot better. Beautiful morning, just to like wake up and catch a crab, cook it, eat it, share it with you guys, and do this. This feels amazing. This feels good to me, and I really like hanging out with you guys. I like that I just parked here, sitting in my van on the side of the ocean. This beautiful place, and I'm in Sydney, you guys. So this is it's pretty close to Victoria. And it turned out to be a really sunny day. My solar panels are working today, and I'm so excited about that. There's another thing that's cool, because I was in this little shaded forest and my batteries needed a charge, and now I feel pretty happy that I'm getting some solar right now. Solar is pretty good. Solar is definitely a good thing, you guys. I recommend it. Josie Tevel, you're asking what I think about the trucker convoy. I did talk about it earlier in the live stream. I think the intentions and what they're doing is absolutely beautiful, and I love it. And it makes me feel really proud to be a Canadian again. There's part of me that wants to be a part of that whole thing. And in some ways, this is why I'm wearing this hat, is because it's a real complicated mess in Canada. And politically, I don't want to get into a political conversation. And there's some things that I just shouldn't talk about. But I want to see more transparency, like in government leadership, and that's what I'm after. So, if these guys are putting on this protest and we can achieve more like a transparent government, really, like that's what I want, and more love-oriented leadership. So, right now, it's like it's so complicated and entropic, and everyone's caught up with it's a mess. And so it's fear-based right now. There's a lot of fear based decisions, or just do this because we need you to. And there's a time and place for stuff like that, but I think in this particular case, everything should get re-examined, and a conversation that's open should be had about it. And I want a better place for my daughter and my friends' families and you guys and everybody else to be in a more open, loving, compassionate place. And Canada is definitely one of those places. It's just a little bit shaken right now, and everybody is, right? I mean, the whole pandemic has really shooken up a lot of our lives. So, and there's a lot of tragedies with that, and there's a lot of tragedies that are currently going on right now with a different kind of cost that's associated with everything that's going on with the mandates and the lockdowns and all that sort of stuff. And I just feel like it's so obvious that there's a cost of life that's going on that is taking place right now that is, I feel like, and I don't know, I can't really quantify it, but intuitively it feels like the cost of life is higher with all these rules and all these stuff. Like, it's affecting mental health. People are taking their own lives. There's people like Emmy's grandmother, who's been alone for the last 2 years, and she died by herself. And there's situations where people have, maybe cancer or something like that, and they could deal with that, but they're not going in because it's really difficult. Anyway, it's complicated. But yes, I'm happy about what's going on with the truckers right now. The spirit of it is amazing. So yeah. I talked about it again, so there you go. Twice in one live stream. Kim's mom, Kim, is giving you a shout out. She's saying how much she loves this quilt of mine. I know you really like this quilt, Kim. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down here and try and catch up with you guys because I'm a little bit behind. Kevin's asking, do I ever feel lonely van lifing solo? Yeah, man, I definitely, there's times where I feel lonely, for sure. It's definitely not chronic. It's like there's moments where I feel lonely, and they're sort of few and far between, to be honest. Like, I feel pretty good, but these days I'm recognizing how much I like to surround myself with people and company, and I don't know, like that Like if I were to be completely cut off from people, I don't think I would do too well. Like I would probably eventually feel lonely, and I could do it, but it wouldn't be. It's not a desirable way to live for me. Like I love the connections that I have, and I like the people that are in my life. But if you're talking about like being in a van, sharing it with somebody else in a relationship or that kind of thing, I mean, yeah, there's there's a part of me that, let's just say I had a dream at one point, and it's still kind of there, but it's sort of faint, I suppose, and it's a little bit private, I suppose, but it's just kind of like, I'm kind of like my mind is going back to my separation and my family and stuff like that. And I don't want to get into that. But, I wanted something like that. And at the same time, it just didn't work out really quite that way. But at the same point, or on another hand, I should say, is I do have a family, and the family is with everybody around me. These guys that are parked beside me, you guys here, like we're all the same species. We all share a lot of same values with one another. Not always. Like we definitely have things that we don't agree on, and that's okay. But I value individuality, and I like everybody. Maybe not everybody, but there's some I generally do like everybody. It's just sometimes someone might go off on a behavior or something like that, and in those moments I might not like them, but that can change. Anyway, holy, what a tangent. Do I feel lonely? Sometimes I do. I think that's a normal human feeling. All right, Mike, I'm saying bye to you. That's KJ4RMZ. See you, buddy. Weirdos unite to you too, bro. Kevin, you're asking me how do I cope with it? I think that's a pretty individual question, Kevin. So the loneliness like I feel it's just like a moment. It's like I'll be maybe out in the boonies somewhere by myself. I felt this the other day actually. So I was kind of like cooped up in a little forested area, hanging out by myself. Things were pretty quiet, and I was just with my own thoughts. And there's some thoughts that I have that aren't healthy, I suppose, and there's some thoughts that are healthy. And sometimes it's situational, but sometimes the unhealthy thoughts can be a little bit more noisy in my brain, and it can make those moments a little bit more lonely or tender or that kind of thing. They're thoughts though, and so the way I cope with it is I try to recognize that these are thoughts and these are emotions, and all of it's valid, and it's good to feel that sort of stuff, but it's also important not to like buy into it too much and sort of dwell on that stuff. And so sometimes for me, just getting up and going physically doing something with my body can snap me out of those situations and get me into something else and get another rhythm going, and then some more healthy stuff or more healthy thinking and stuff like that comes. Now the unhealthy thinking is, it's not like I'm trying to run away from that stuff. That is all there to remind me that there's some inner work to do, and I kind of work at it, I suppose, as I can. So and a lot of that inner work is just like stuff with self-esteem stuff, not feeling good enough. That was something I struggled with in my childhood, and that still affects me to this day. So those are some of the thoughts come up to sort of the narratives like you're not good enough or stuff like that. So I work on that a little bit to my own capacity while I'm by myself by just getting up and switching things up and doing something different. The other way I deal with that kind of stuff is participated in men's groups, and in different types of well, there was a counseling course that I got into that I didn't complete. Things changed, that's another story, but all that stuff is really helpful. But the men's groups were really good. Or, you know, like a group of women, you know, like I'm talking about women's groups. So, you know, and or just support groups in general where there's both, you know, men and women. And the reason why there might be men's groups and women's groups is because men and women, like we inherently live very similar lives, but we have some differences, and it's nice to have like that collective understanding and safety net. So if it's a women's group, it's going to be like, these are all this stuff and issues that I'm working through, and you can feel safe in those environments to be able to bring that stuff up, rehash some experiences, maybe work through some of that stuff and get some different perspectives from other women in the group, and or if you're in a men's group, other men in the group. So that's one way to help work through that stuff. But lonely is just, you know, it's a feeling I think we all have, and some of us work with that feeling more than others. And you know, I don't know, like there's other people work with the different things too. So but yeah, I feel lonely sometimes, and I just, you know, sometimes I get up and I just go and move. But it's not very often. Like most of the time I'm busy, like I'm busy fishing, or I'm busy doing something, I'm having fun, there's something interesting going on, and that also helps too. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that for now. But yeah, that's it. But yeah, Vicky D, thank you. Thanks for the super chat, Vicky D. Look, is that you in the office chair swiveling around in your office? Kevin, yeah, you're saying I deal with it on a daily basis, so thanks for sharing. Yeah, so, you know, you're not alone, dude. There's like, if I could give you a beer right now and say, you know, this one's for you, I'd do that. Like this coffee's for you, buddy. You're here. Thanks for being here. And love you, bro. I love you. And you're not alone. There's people all around you, and it's just, you know, if you can find a safe place to open up and share that deeper dialogue going on inside of yourself, like in a men's group or something like that, that can be super fucking scary to do that. To just bring it up in the open, in front of other people that you don't know. As long as there's like a practice of, what do you call it? I don't know, I can't remember the word, but there's kind of a sense of guardianship where whatever's going on inside of the men's circle or whatever isn't going to go outside of the men's circle. So you can let that come out and you can work with it. And that can be super scary doing that, but you are touching with the most vulnerable parts of yourself, and you're able to, it liberates you to be able to do that. And so if you can find some sort of position or place to do that, do that. And that work, I kind of miss men's groups right now because I'm talking about it, but that work never stops. It never stops. The loneliness that you might feel is like, you're just going to change your relationship to it. That's it, bro. That's it. I know, yeah, I know there's a lot of that going on right now, and it touches my heart right now. Billy K, you're saying, hey Joseph, you living in a van means to buying a house or property or something. You see yourself living this lifestyle by choice, in it for the long term. I think it's kind of explained, Billy, like in my videos. You know, if you were to go back and sort of like watch from the beginning, I'm not going to ask you to do it, but if you do, man, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You get a sense of like kind of everything, I suppose. If you're just tuning in and you're listening to me for the first time and you're trying to put it together, well, that can be hard, right? First impressions are probably particularly weird in YouTube, in the sense that you just click onto a live stream and you hear this guy talking and maybe you've never heard him before. And you don't have that backstory, but you're looking around the inside of the space and you're trying to figure it out. I mean, that's what we do. But anyway, yeah. I guess to answer your question is, to give you more of a short answer on that is, and you're not the only one who's probably thinking this question right now, is I like the lifestyle. I didn't really get into it by choice. I was more like trying to solve a particular situation I was in when I got into it. And I won't get into the story, but that's back there if you want to go see it. And this felt like an answer. So this van of mine and building it out was kind of like a way for me to heal and work through a stage of my life that I need to work through. And I'm working through it. It's actually coming along pretty good. But while doing that, I began to see like all these benefits to the lifestyle that I would never have ever realized had I not tried it. And I really like the benefits of it. There's arguably some very good ones. There's a huge time saving that went on, like a massive one. Living in a house, and a financial savings as well. So living in a house, there was a lot of time spent commuting. You'd be getting up, get in the car, go to work, go get groceries, come home, forget something, go back out, come back home. For me, I recognize within myself that I had this kind of rush go mentality where I get in the car and I'd be like, okay, we got to get there quick and we got to zoom back here quick. And I was, I had a little bit more stress and like aggravation while I was driving. Like I was more aggravated mentally even. And getting into the van, it's like, okay, I'm going to get groceries. Okay, I got groceries. Is there anywhere else I want to go? And I'd be like, well, yeah, I want to go to this little park that's just down the road or something like that. Short distance, but I'm not aggravated. I'm not aggro. I'm not trying to rush there or anything like that. That kind of thing. And I'm not going back and forth. I go there and my house is there. And so big time savings in that department. Financially is, there's some savings with that too. Cost of rent, right? Like I'm a renter. That's where I was at in life. Like I'm not a homeowner. I'm a homeowner now. This is my home. But, having an oceanfront property or something like that, right? Up there. I'm not that kind of homeowner. I don't know, I don't know if that's in the cards for me either. Because these days the price of something like that, with a view like this, like that's probably $10 million. And then the property tax on that is probably going to be like $10,000 a year. I mean, $10,000 a year is like, that's about as much as I could really afford to pay in rent. If I owned a place like this, I'd have to pay the property tax. And then there's the maintenance, there's changing the hot water tanks every 10 years, there's the HVAC, there's, lighting, electrical, all those different things, there's rot, there's all kinds of things you're dealing with. Then all the cleaning, the time you spend cleaning your bathrooms and, cleaning out a drain. There's so much to a house. And it's a lot easier in a van. Spend less time doing all that stuff. That being said, like I'm leaning on a certain part of society. Like I lean on the fact that I've got this privilege where I can pull over and sleep on the side of a road, and that's a privilege. Like, and it's kind of a gray area, but I'm doing it. And in some ways, I kind of realize like maybe I'm exploiting that. And van life is really just a hack that is available to me at this particular and people of, in this time period. Van life might not be this easy 10, 20 years from now. Like it, who knows? Let's say things keep going in a more regulated fashion, then this kind of thing might, governments might learn how to tax it and regulate it and all that sort of thing, to the point where it's no longer the same kind of hack that it is right now. In any case, yeah, I lean on being able to park on the side of the street, and I recognize that I'm not paying a property tax for that. I pay tax when I buy fuel, and there's a tax that helps out with that. And just a side note, the tax system is pretty corrupt anyway. A good friend of mine likes to call it extortion. But there's a massive waste of resources with that whole system, with the finances and all that stuff. And anyway, I don't pay property tax, but I pay fuel tax, and I'm happy to, let's say Nick and Michaela, right? They're renting, but in some ways their rent is contributing to property tax. So in a kind of like removed but still kind of engaged fashion, I might go spend some time with them, do a few things for them, buy some groceries, cook them meals and stuff like that. They'll do the same thing for me, but I like to try and do something for those guys that's more than what they're doing for me. In some ways, maybe I'm balancing it out, and my efforts are becoming less of a burden for the general community, right? Because if I'm just out here hacking and van lifing it, I don't want to take advantage of that situation. Like, I really want to be still part of the community. And another way is that I realize that I'm very fortunate to have as the privilege of being in van life is things like showers and using facilities like gyms and stuff like that. It's different right now because of the pandemic. All that's all messed up, but I don't have to look after that hot water tank. I don't have to change it. I don't have that $20,000 replacement fee. I'm not cleaning the shower. Somebody else is. So those are benefits that I really appreciate. Mind you, those are public places. Totally different. You don't have the same kind of control over it as you do when it's your own, in your own house. So if it's your own shower and your own bathtub, you can decide when you're going to clean it and how it's going to be clean. And if it's dirty, it's your own filth. And generally, if it's your own brand, it's okay. But when it's somebody else's, it's like, you might find that icky. So, and there's times when I've gone into a shower and I've seen some gross shit. Damn, I've seen some gross stuff in the gym showers. I'm not going to paint any pictures, but yeah. And when I was doing all the maintenance for the yoga studios too, I saw a lot of it then too. But I found comparatively a gym's facilities are a lot more filthy than a yoga studio's facilities. Anyway, I would think like I could do this for a while. I could do this for a while, and there's some benefits to living in a house as well that I really appreciate. Like, there's more space I can stretch out in. It's a bigger kitchen, having a place to plug in a great big deep freezer. Like, there's a lot of perks to it. I think one day it would be really cool to have sort of like a place, like a piece of property or something like that, where I could have some of that stuff, but I'd still really like to have my van where I can go out. So it'd be kind of like a base camp, if you will. And yeah, I mean, that's it. And I'd like to share that kind of thing. But yeah, that's it. That's my answer for you on that. Ooh, I'm gonna catch up on the comments because that was a good one. I like that. That was a good topic. Like that one. Yeah, man, the tax system is just crazy, man. Like, it saddens me big time. Like, I understand, like, somehow it was all put together, but like, there's just so much waste built into it, and I know there is. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you know that too. And it could just be better. Anyway, that's it. I'm not gonna well on that. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Although it's important to talk about the not so fun stuff too. It's very important not to ignore that kind of thing. Which is why I'm pretty happy to be wearing this hat today, and I'm happy about the truckers and all that sort of stuff. I'm praying for those guys too. Yeah, and I know it's not just the truckers, but it's everybody. And so it's like, what's going on is kind of like, it's just, it's an amazing amount of camaraderie, and it's pretty touching. Yeah, CL's mentioning roofing too. Yeah, you got to take care of roofing when it's a house as well. Man, house stuff is just like, I understand there's people out there, they're right here, homeowners. They're in positions in their life experience where they're able to manage and deal with all that sort of stuff. And sometimes I see that with friends, and sometimes I see that by just watching YouTube or movies or stuff like that, and you see real other examples of how people manage with all that sort of stuff. And it's almost like they're in kind of like I don't want to say like a different league, but it's kind of like a different league than van life. And it doesn't mean that they're in that position means that they're better, or in any of that regard. I think life is life, and I think it's valuable no matter what. And yeah, so yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of super amazing loving people back here on this little strip. I had an interaction with this one lady earlier this morning, and she gave me the stink eye. And I kind of thought, oh, she probably has had a run-in or some judgments about van life. And I opened up my door and I said, good morning. And that broke the ice, and we actually ended up having a pretty decent conversation. So, yeah, but it might have, who knows? I mean, it might have just been, someone having a resting bitch face. And I don't know if you've ever heard that term. But yeah, I got one of those faces. I can have the I don't know, what's the male version of that? Resting bitch face? Like, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, I can have a resting bitch face sometimes. Be like, oh my god, that guy gave me the stink eye. And meanwhile, I'm just like resting. Good times. Anyway, it was really cool to have a conversation with that lady, and then I saw her twice in one day. And she asked me what I was up to. I said I was going crab fishing, and then she saw me later, and she's like, "Oh, you caught one?" I'm like, "Yeah." It was pretty cool. And she's let me know that the parking guy came by, and she's like, "It's only 3 hours here, so you might want to move on." Okay, thank you. That's another thing about van life, you guys, is to move. So, there's kind of some sensibilities to the lifestyle that I like, and that's like to move around. Friend Chrome on Van City Fan Life talks about this a lot too. It's just to always be on the move and stuff. And in some ways, like, you spend a night somewhere and then move on. Like, you can spend 3 nights, maybe even a week somewhere, as long as you're like really tidy and very respectful and all that sort of stuff. I think that's really important. I understand there might be a circumstance where like you need to lean into that situation and and depend on it a little bit more. So maybe you need to kind of wear out your welcome a little bit because you're working through something, and that's fine. But don't lean on it to the, I would say don't lean into it so far as to just squat and not go anywhere and not put any effort into trying to change that. It's like, even if it's just cleaning your van and cleaning the area outside of your van, like these kind of things really matter. And it's like, oh, well, so-and-so's got a breakdown and they can't move their engines, but or their battery's dead or something like that, so you got to stay there for a little while. I've been there. My alternator died and I had to sit in one place for 5 days, and I definitely noticed the locals were like, hey, what's going on, and I had to do that one time, but in the whole time that I was there, I was being very clean, very respectful, and trying to just kind of not really lean on that too much, if you know what I mean. But yeah, there's times for that. But yeah, moving around, respecting the areas you visit, all that stuff is really important. And I think if, as long as we all do that, the more we'll be able to kind of do the van life hack, so to speak. And I'm all for that. There's, ultimately, you're sharing the communities. We're all sharing everything together. So it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Where are we at? How long have I been chatting for now? It says 106 minutes. It's like, it's coming up on 2 hours. Yeah, almost 2 hours. Ryan Fletcher, you're saying I could use your cul-de-sac. Thanks, buddy. Where's your cul-de-sac, bro? I'm going to be parking my van at Nick's place for a little bit as well, because I'm going to be jumping into, we've been talking a little bit. Nick really wants to get his van going, and I want to help him out, and we're going to work out a bit of a financial exchange with that one, so I'll make some money on that as well. I'm going to do a little bit of work for him for nothing, just because he's been helping me with the house and keeping my sewing stuff there, and I can stage some of my adventures from his place, as well as just work through my own projects there. But I want to help him move a little bit more forward with his van, and he's been really tied up with a lot of his work right now, and that's something that he needs to focus on. That's his responsibility. And it's more useful for him to hire somebody else to work on his van. And we're just making this arrangement between each other so that I can get a little bit more cash, because I need it right now. I just haven't been making as much as I need to or want to with YouTube, so I need to take on a little bit of side work. So I'll be doing a little bit of that here soon, and I'll film some of that stuff and share some of what I'm doing. I'm not sure what that's going to shape up to look like, but it'd be pretty cool to do a little bit of van work. Anyway, that's around the corner. That being said, I'm going to be squatting at his place for a little while I'm doing that, and then if I'm lucky, he'll take me out on the boat again. We'll go fishing, and maybe we'll do some other stuff. Nick is always very keen about all that stuff too, by the way. He's like, let's go do this, let's go do that. He's, I have to be careful around him, because he'll plan my whole year if I'm, not careful about it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Be your van life. You're asking, have I caught any crabs to eat yet? Yeah. Earlier on the live stream, I had one, and there's a little bit left in my fridge. I'm going to be putting that in an omelet later, but that was a crab that I caught this morning. And then I caught some crabs earlier. There was some YouTube videos of that, and then there's going to be another one coming up. I'm not sure what it's going to shape up to be, but I did go out on Nick's boat with him, and we did some fishing. So that'll be coming up in a video at some point here soon. And guys, speaking of that, I'm like struggling at the moment. So I mentioned earlier on the live stream that I started a film course, and in that course I decided we have to make 2 videos in the course. And the first video that I'm doing, it's totally outside of the, sorry, I'm kind of burping a little bit. I'm gonna turn my heater on. Hang on a sec. It's actually getting cool as well. There we go. Yeah, what was I saying? The film course and editing this video. This video for this class has just been difficult. Like, I'm on day 3 of struggling with it, and by the time it's done, you know, you guys will get to see it. You would just be like, why did that take 3 days to make? That's just how it is. Some videos take a really long time. Anyway, I got another video that I'll be doing with these guys, and now I'm behind in the classroom. I'm about 4 days behind schedule in the class, so I figured I'll share a live stream with you guys, dive back into that, try and get caught up, and then somewhere in there try to fit in another edit and have a video out for hopefully by Sunday or something like that. It's a lot of work. Gina K. Landis, you're saying, are there any different ways to support you other than YouTube and Patreon, PayPal, and Vimeo? Right now, so far, it's kind of complicated. So I've got Patreon set up. And I know not everybody wants to jump on a Patreon for whatever, you know, respectfully, for whatever reason. And I haven't established my PayPal yet. I got the ball rolling on it, and then I've run into some things that have stalled me on it, and now I've got to kind of reestablish that whole thing. It's not that easy because I'm not just setting up a personal PayPal account. I've got to set up a business one, and because I'm probably going to run that through my company. So I have a company, and this whole channel is also run through that, and I want to keep everything running through that. But it looks weird because my company name is not sharing the wild, and if I put a PayPal link in there, you're going to be like, who's this dude? This doesn't match. And so I have to smooth that out somehow, or, you know, make it so it makes sense. And then I also have to sort out the accounting side of it, and so there's some questions I need to work through with my accountant, so that we can set it up from the ground up in a way that's not going to fumble on itself. It's all good, I can do it, it's just I haven't really been allotting myself the time to set that up. So I've been procrastinating, certainly have. I've been saying I want to set that up for almost a year now, and I still haven't done it. Eventually that's going to come around. In the meantime, I've shared my Amazon wish list. That's another way you can support me. There's a few things in there that I was kind of like, well, you know, eventually I'll buy this stuff, but I can't buy it right now, and some of that stuff's expensive, so don't worry about it. It's all super low priority stuff, but if you wanted to jump in there, you could certainly do that too. And you can send some super chats like we just got in too. That's another way too. Billy K, thanks, man. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts live. And have you seen, I have seen all your content. Big fan. Much love, brother. Man, thanks, Billy. That's really cool. I love that you just mentioned that you've seen all my content, bro. That means a lot. I know you've been around for, you know, a while, and being able to say that, you've seen the journey. And you've stuck around, dude. It's great. Love you, bro. Thanks, man. Wendy Lee, thank you. Thank you for that super chat. I'll definitely keep it up. Kind of ebbs and flows sometimes, but I'm going to keep it up. And Vanilla Swirl, thank you, Vanilla Swirl. Vanilla Swirl 87. Thanks. Ooh. All right. I gotta do something. I gotta go pee, you guys. And I'm not finished yet. I don't want to say goodbye, so I'm gonna go pee. But just give me a moment. I'm gonna let you look at the ocean while I do that. Then we can talk about how you go pee in a van. Oh shit. Oh shit. Don't spill a coffee. Too many cords. Alright, hang on. Yeah. Yeah, don't mind me, it's just... Too much information, right? Some of you guys are running away right now. I'd be like, dude, I didn't need to be around for that. Well, you know, we all gotta, you know, take care of ourselves from time to time. My pee bottle is right here, you guys. That's it. That's my pee bottle. Yeah, I thought about muting, but I was like, I didn't know how. I was like, there's a, can I mute? I'm just checking the buttons here on the screen. Oh, I can actually. There is a way I can mute. Well, yeah, oh well. Sharing the wild. I'm gonna, do you guys hear this? So right up here, a little squeak. That's my max air fan. So the bearing in there needs a little bit of oil. I do a little maintenance on this thing here in the near future, but I'll turn that off for now. I think part of the reason it's getting cool in here is because the sun is going down. You can see it setting there behind me, ish. Yeah. And the fan was pulling all the warm air out of the van. Yeah. Yeah, van life vibe saying it's so much easier for the van life boys. I know it's a privilege. I just, you know, point and shoot. Although, you know, I've chatted with several women about this topic and they all have a system for it as well, so I'm sure you have one. Yeah. Keith Brookshire, the heater is very quiet. Yeah, so that's it in the background. You can probably, I can hear the tick a little bit. It's very quiet. But I hear the fan more than the tick for sure. And you didn't even hear the squeak. Couldn't hear the fan squeak. Well, it's got a little bit of a squeak to it, so I gotta oil the bearing on that thing. Yeah. Oh, right. So, yeah. So here's a different thing. I've been thinking about doing a video on this topic, and I probably will, because we're kind of deep into a live stream right now, but I'll share it right now. One of the things that's been on my mind a lot lately is how well everybody else is doing. And so, you know, mostly it's people within, you know, my close circle, I suppose. You guys are in my circle too, but we don't interact on a day-to-day business, or, you know, at least not, it's not back and forth, right? Kind of is when we do this sort of thing. But I've been thinking about how, like, it goes back on that previous topic I was talking about, how I've been really focusing on my responsibilities, working on all that stuff, and how when I work on those things and I take care of the business that I need to take care of, I'm becoming less of a burden on other people, but I'm also working my way to a better position where I can share and do more things for other people too. And that's the ultimate goal, really, is to get myself into that position where I can share more and help, you know, other people more. And I've seen, it's kind of like this is something that's been changing in the way I think about things, because I wasn't always this way, but I've been thinking more and more about how when other people succeed and they're doing good, is how that really benefits, it comes back and it benefits me as well, and it benefits everybody that's they're in touch with as well. Essentially, it benefits everybody. So I've been like, just, I don't know, I'm somewhat hyper focused on it, and just sort of thinking like, I'm so happy when I see things working out for other people, and it, you know, when I can be involved in some of that, maybe by helping out here and there, or even if it's just getting them in touch with somebody else so that they move ahead with whatever they're moving ahead, and how that makes their lives better. In turn, it ends up making my life better too, and it makes the lives of everybody else in the community better. So it's kind of this is why I haven't done a video about it. It's because I still need to think about it and figure out how to talk about it. But it's the whole community benefits. So when we're just looking after ourselves, and you know, let's say we're in a bit more of a position where we're maybe out of necessity need to be more selfish or something, or we're just that way because we've got a pretty strong ego, and you know, we're selfish, which is completely different way of being selfish, I suppose. Sometimes you need to be selfish because you need to take care of you, and that's important. And but in any case, you know, when we just do that, it's just all about you, and nobody else matters. It's, you know, I don't know, it's just kind of like you're not really helping so much. You're not really enriching your life, and you're not really enriching the lives of other people in a sense. Even if you were to be all, you know, you'd sort out all that stuff and become super successful or something like that, you're kind of going to be alone in a way. You don't get to share that. And I mean, what's the value in that? It just doesn't seem all that attractive to me anyway. It's just like, you know, let's just hypothetically say you would have, you know, all these people, and then you'd have this super rich person and everybody else is really poor. Well, you know, the rich person's going to have like all this money, and I'm using this as an example because I think we can all relate to the topic of money, and sort of looking at that and say how we, you know, at least this is how I feel, is, you know, I've been somewhat brought up and exposed to things to believe that having a lot of money means you're successful or stuff like that. And it's not really always the case. Like, you see someone with a lot of wealth and then they're like terribly lonely, and they don't, you know, often get to share some of those things with other people as much. And, you know, they're in a whole other class, I suppose, of that. And there's not a lot of other people there in that class to be able to share life experiences with. I don't know. I'm afraid I've opened up a can of worms, guys, because I'm not sure I can really complete this. I'm hoping some of you, and I know some of you will be able to complete that for me, but it's just this. It's important that my neighbor succeeds. And it's important that you succeed and all that sort of stuff. And that's it. That's all it is. I want everybody to do better, especially nowadays. Anyway, obviously I need to think about this a little bit more, but maybe I'm just getting tired and coffee's wearing off. And I still have more coffee left, guys, but anyway, that's been something on my mind. Like, when your life is going better, everybody's life is going better, and we should all be striving for that and loving each other and working towards that. And I don't mean loving each other in a romantic way. I just mean loving each other as in being compassionate towards one another and helping everybody move into those better positions and being honest, you know. Anyway, yeah, Catherine Spong, you want to leave the world a better place. For sure. Definitely. I don't know if it's just because I've been getting older and I'm just like, but that seems to be one of the more valuable things. The more, like, one of the things I want to do more is just do that. Anyway, maybe that'll come across over time too, so yeah. Jeff Zoic, you're asking if that crab is radioactive. Jeff, I don't know, man. I was saying earlier that there's trace radiations in just about everything. I mean, we live in a pretty radioactive universe if you think about it. But I know you're talking about like Fukushima, more likely than anything else. And comes to seafood, and sorry guys, I'm switching up the topic because I want to. I need to digest that other thought more, but yeah. Radiation in seafood. I don't know conclusively like what those levels are like and how safe it is to eat. I'm not trying to go out and participate in like living off of the sea right now. I don't know, you know, we've kind of messed things up a lot on the planet, you know, like we've been pretty I say like ambitious and careless and all those sorts of things, and like there's a certain amount of filth that's out there in the ocean, and I know that, and there's a certain amount of filth everywhere else, and everything kind of ends up going down to the ocean. So, you know, I think about that as I'm consuming seafood and go like, you know, is this really a good idea? Should I maybe not eat this animal or whatever, or eat the seaweed that I'm eating, because I like eating seaweed too. I don't know, unless I get a little radiation detector and I can like jab it in there or kind of go a little Geiger counter and figure it out. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of relying on the information that I have from other people, and maybe in some ways it would be smart to do that. I've kind of looked into it a little bit, but I don't want to spend the few $100s on one of those little things right now, because it's not necessary. There's other things right now that I could spend a few $100s on that kind of feel like they're more important, and I'm not consuming the quantity of seafood that I feel would be dangerous. Like that crab I ate today, I don't eat a lot of seafood, but that crab is, you know, I know there's people out there that probably eat much more than that when they go to the sushi restaurant every 2 weeks or week, you know, and they're gonna get a California roll or something like that. I don't consume a lot of sushi. I don't, you know, buy a lot of fish products in the stores. I buy some canned sardines. That's usually what I eat. Sometimes I'll have some canned salmon. But it was pretty fun to eat that, you know, catch and eat that crab. If it had some radiation in it, and you know, I guess I kind of just sort of feel like I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm not okay with that, but I'm not going to get all worked up about it. I should say that. It's just, okay, it's one crab, you know. It's not something I'm doing every day. Anyway, truffle turkey, what kind of heater? I've got a planar heater. Planar. It's a Russian D2 heater, 2 kilowatt, diesel. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. California love. We all need to be conscious and responsible for the energy that we put out into the world. It affects not only ourselves, but everyone else around us, which is so true. I think California Love was just kind of commenting on what I was talking about earlier, but it's you know, it is really true. And yeah, like, you know, I'm at this age in my life where I'm kind of like, am I arriving at this particular train of thought because of how old I am and the life experience that I've had? Or, you know, I know I was kind of thinking this way when I was younger too, but I didn't really realize it to the same extent that I do now, I suppose. So I don't know. I don't know if it has to do with my own human experience, or if it's more collective, and a lot of people, no matter the age, are feeling this way more so nowadays. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway. I don't know, guys. I feel like maybe we're gonna be done soon. I got up, I caught a crab for my morning, and we are done soon, actually. I'm gonna say bye, guys, because this is my daughter calling, and I'm thinking about saying bye to you guys anyways. I love you all. We'll see you soon, okay? Thanks for all the love, everybody. Hey, honey. Hi, how are ya? Oh, you got your granola, eh?